So today's podcast is about the principles of getting into better shape. That is what we are going to discuss today. And better shape, in my mindset, my outlook, the guys that I help, usually is losing a substantial amount of fat, keeping or even building some muscle to their body. This then aids them to look leaner, look fitter, look stronger, and have a healthier body. That is my description of getting into better shape. It's not one extreme where it's massively overweight and don't even care about your health. If that's you and you're happy with that, live your life, do what you want to do. But on the other extremes of that, it's not bodybuilding and all those kind of aspects where you're going to the other extreme of your health. It's getting that middle ground of living a healthier lifestyle, and that's what I help a lot of my clients do. So we're going to go on two aspects of this. We're going to go on the scientific kind of side of things so you can understand how it works, how the process works, because then you've got more education, more knowledge with the process. You've got more confidence then with your abilities, and you know, or you'll have a better understanding of what path that you want to take. Then we're going to look at the other side of things, which I will explain later on. So the first aspect of obviously getting into better shape, losing fat, is going to come down to energy balance. So you've got your total daily energy expenditure, TDEE. Now, this is broken down into four components. You've got your first component, which is your basal metabolic rate. You right now, your body composition, your weight, your height, everything about you right now, if you were to lay down, not do anything, not even blink, this would make up the amount of calories that you still need to function at that. That's your total, that is your basal metabolic rate. Usually, for a typical guy, let's say you're around 200 pounds, your metabolic, basal metabolic rate is going to be anywhere from 1700 to 1900-ish calories. Just take that with a pinch of salt. But you're going to be anywhere around there. Now, I get people are made up differently genetically, etc. But that's where you're probably looking at. Just on the aspect of that. Now, obviously, like I say, your weight, your height, your age, your muscle density is going to come into factor with that as well. So again, just wanting to identify that your basal metabolic rate is just that. How much energy you require just for you to function laying down. How much your body needs to process cell repairment, process keeping your organs active and alive, etc. From there, you've got your day-to-day movement, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is your NEAT. This is why people are really pushing steps right now. That's why I'm a big believer in your day-to-day movement, because it takes up a massive chunk of the calories that you burn. So your basal metabolic rate that I've just mentioned, that's going to take up around anywhere from 40 to 60% of the total calories that you burn on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, that 100% mark is going to be different day by day and from you as an individual. But you've got to understand that scope of it's around 40 to 60%, because then from there, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that is going to be around 20 to 40% of the calories that you burn on a day-to-day basis. Again, we have to have these ranges because you might move more one day than you do the other day. So that's going to take up a bigger percentage chunk of that 100% of your total daily energy expenditure. But it's going to be the second biggest chunk. This is why it's super important to analyze how much you're moving right now and can I move more, because it's not going to be as strenuous as exercise. You don't need to recover from your day-to-day movement, but it's going to take a big chunk of the calories that you burn. So that's why it's super important and overlooked from many aspects, because the third point of the total daily energy expenditure is going to be your exercise. But this doesn't actually take up a massive amount of calories that you burn, especially if you're going to be doing weight training, which I believe every guy should be doing. It's going to take up around 10 to 15% of the calories that you burn throughout that day. So it's not a massive amount. This is why I don't focus on how many calories have you burnt in that workout, because to me it's not important. when you go into the gym, for example, when you're hitting the weights, resistance training, or even just using body weighted exercises, your sole focus there should be, am I getting stronger? Am I improving with my movement? Am I getting fitter? These should be the things that you are focusing on, not how many calories am I burning in that workout. And then your final one is your thermal effect of food. So this is how much energy is required to break down the food that you're consuming. So simple carbs, for example, don't take a lot of energy to break down. So like chocolate, for example, don't take a lot of energy to break down compared to higher fiber foods and higher protein foods. These take a lot more energy to break down. So this is going to, again, go from a range of 5 to 10% of the calories that you burn on a day-to-day basis. So you can start to manipulate your metabolism. You can start to manipulate how much energy you burn on a day-to-day basis with those last three aspects in terms of your daily movement, your exercise, and your thermal effect of food. All three, if you increase just ever so slightly on all three of those aspects, add them together, that's going to be then a big change over the week, over the month, over the year. So it's something that you can then start to manipulate. So we need to understand that this energy balance then is required when it comes to our nutrition. With our nutrition, it's then, as long as we are eating less than what our body needs, we are going to lose fat. And this is the game for obviously all the guys that I'm helping. We are trying to shift fat, but we want to do this in a manner that it's keeping our muscle, because anyone can go on a really, really low calorie diet, but all that's going to do is, yes, you're going to lose weight, yes, you're going to lose fat, but if you're not getting enough macronutrients and micronutrients, you're probably going to lose muscle. Also, if you don't have enough calories coming into your body, you not have enough energy coming into your body, that's going to then affect your exercise. It's going to affect your day-to-day movement. You're not going to move as much. You're probably not going to push yourself as hard as you probably can in the gym, so then you're not going to, at a minimum, retain the muscle that you have. But I want to help guys build muscle as well, so when we are dropping fat, we are getting that, like I mentioned at the start, the leaner, healthier, fitter, stronger look, not just a smaller version of what you were previously. Because anyone can drop weight. You can easily drop 2 to 3 stone. And I'm saying that with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek and a bit of a pinch of salt with that as well. But you can. As long as your energy equation's in the negative, you're going to lose weight. This is where it comes a little bit more mathematical after the calorie intake is where your macronutrients coming from. Having enough macronutrients in our body so we are performing in the gym, so we are feeling full, so we're not getting cravings, so we are then keeping muscle, if not building some muscle. If we are not then recovering from our exercise, we're not getting irritable, because all these negative effects come from not having enough food in our body and not having enough macronutrients and micronutrients for our health and for our well-being. So it's all super important. It all comes together as a package, and it's not an easy thing that we can then just flip on its head if we have not got to that stage of exercising regularly and watching our nutrition regularly. If you were like me, I used to go to the gym very sporadically. It might be twice a week, sometimes it might be 3 times a week, sometimes it might be nothing at all. It was very inconsistent. My diet, I lived on fast food. I'd easily have a takeaway twice, if not 3 times a week, but then on top of that, I'd easily have like a KFC. I absolutely used to love KFCs, or anything kind of in that realm. I used to always eat these foods. So then to kind of go, oh, now I need to be exercising 5 times a week, and now I need to be watching my macros, blah, blah, it can be overwhelming. And for most people, it's hard to get everything, all your ducks in a row. So you want to aim for understand this is the science side of things, but then trying to shift your lifestyle towards that. And just think progression, not perfection. If you weren't exercising last week and you're exercising twice this week, that's progression. Can you exercise 3 times next week, or can you do 2 again? Still, it's progression. I say this to my clients all the time. Sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes we can feel like we're a little bit further away than we are. But I just say, well, look at yourself a month ago, or look at yourself 3 months ago, or even 6 months ago. 6 months ago might sound like a long time, but if you've not or you've been living in pain with your body, you've not been happy with your health for 5 to 10 years, which I've had guys come on board with me. 10 years they've been struggling. 10 years they've not enjoyed their body. 10 years they've wanted to make a change, and then 6 months down the line, doing absolutely amazing. But sometimes we can get a bit disheartened, and you've got to reflect sometimes and go, actually, only 6 months ago, I've been struggling for 10 years. So actually, I've made some absolutely fantastic progression, and reflection's a really good thing to look back on as well. So we've got the science side of things there. Sorry, I did a little bit of a ramble. So we've got the science side of things there. Calories are going to dictate if you lose or you gain weight, or you maintain your weight. Your macronutrients are there for obviously keeping and building muscle, is your protein aspect of it. Your carbs and your fats are there for energy levels and your health aspects, your well-being aspect. Then obviously you've got your recovery side of that as well when you are exercising. Also, you've just got your well-being in general, making sure you're getting enough vitamins and minerals so you've got a healthy body, so it's operating at its absolute best. That's the food side of things, and obviously how we drop fat. With your exercise and your day-to-day movement, I've already mentioned your day-to-day movement is super important, and that's what I feel should be your biggest focus. Then after that would be your resistance training, so you are maintaining muscle, or if not building muscle. Doing that 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, whatever your schedule can factor in. Again, if you're going from 0, 3 sessions a week is definitely a great foundation to build on, and that's what I'd recommend. And then it comes down to your lifestyle, etc. But I'd be aiming for 3 times a week, 100% as a minimum. And your resistance training is there for you, like I've just mentioned, getting that leaner, fitter, stronger, healthier body. So we've got the science side of things down there. Cardio as well, I'll touch on that. Cardio is really good for our health, really good for our fitness. It can help with recovery of the resistance side of things. It can help as well in terms of building muscle, because our bodies become more efficient, and obviously it can burn more calories. So if your day-to-day movements a struggle, if you are literally, I'm in the car, then I'm behind a desk, then I'm in the car again, etc., and you really struggle to move more, it might be a thing of, well, if you can't go for an hour's walk, for example, I'd rather choose an hour's walk over a 30-minute run. That's just my preference. So I'd try to find the time to do that. But if you really struggle with that, instead of going for an hour's walk, find 20 to 30 minutes to go for a run. It's still going to be very similar in terms of the amount of calories that you burn. This is where, again, cardio comes into the play, but it's down on the list of priorities in my aspect. Now, if obviously something is important to you in terms of I want to run a race, or I want to do this cycling race, whatever else, then that's your goal, right? That's your number one priority. So that's what you need to focus on. And again, that's what it comes down to in the principles of this is getting into better shape, and this is the method that I use, and this is the enjoyment that I follow, and that is the other side of things now. So you've got the science, and the science is out there. It's then putting it into a journey that's going to work for you, because that's the biggest factor, is the journey. If you enjoy the journey, you are going to then more likely stay consistent, get to your goal, and then maintain your goal. If you do it in a way that is horrendously grueling, I've been on that journey before. I did a 16 weeks program once, and the objective was to just drop as much fat as I possibly could. So I was doing cardio in the morning, and then in the afternoon I was doing a weight session. I was doing that 6 times a week, and I was eating the same meal 7 days a week. I didn't go off plan once. Same food, same meals every single day, 7 days a week, and I hated it. It was horrible. I think by week 10 or 11, don't get me wrong, I was dropping a lot of fat. I was looking good in the mirror, but I wasn't feeling good. I didn't enjoy my lifestyle. I was bored. I hated the gym. I genuinely, by the 11th or 12th week, I stopped going to the gym. I was doing the cardio side of things, but because it was a bit easier, but mentally, I did not want to go to the gym. I wasn't recovering. I was always sore. I just fell out of love with it, and I actually stopped going. And again, I dropped a lot of weight. Yeah, probably looked the best I have that up to that point, but I didn't feel great. And after that, within 6 months, I think I'd gained 3 stone back. So that's where the procedure has to work for you as well. That's where you've got to appreciate the journey as well and make it work for you. So on the other side of things, apart from the science that I've discussed, it's about going into what does your lifestyle look like? What does your environment around you look like? What do you enjoy, and what's going to keep you consistent? And what are your emotions like as well, which is a massive factor. So let's dive into those. Where you're going to be consistent is going to come from enjoyment. So if someone said to me, you've got to run every single day, I would not enjoy doing that. If someone said to me, you've got to do weight session every single 4 times a week, but then you've got to run 2 or 3 times a week, that I could probably get on board with, or a bit more on board with, if it's going to get me towards my goal, because I've still got some enjoyment factor in there. But then I'd also kind of ask, well, can I do something different than running? Do I have to do running? I don't like it. I don't mind doing sprints, but long distance running, like anything over 3K, it's just not my bag. I'll do it every now and again if I feel like it, but it's just not my bag. I just don't enjoy it. But I'd rather do something else cardio-wise. If it's going to get me the same output, why not? I'm not going to be a runner. I'm not going to do a race, so I don't need to do that. So you've got to find stuff that you enjoy. So I love the gym. I just really enjoy the gym. And I was saying to one of my clients the other day, I had to have, well, I didn't have to, but I did have 3 weeks off. But it didn't faze me. It didn't bother me. I didn't think, oh, I'm off track now. I'm off the wagon. Because I know that I'm going to go to the gym when I'm in my 40s, when I'm in my 50s, when I'm in my 60s. I want to be going to the gym because it's a part of me. It's a part of my identity. It's part of my lifestyle. I enjoy it. So that's never going to stop. So we've got to find something that you enjoy that keeps us consistent. You look at your environment as well. Like, do your friends exercise? Do your family exercise? Does your partner exercise? Or do they smoke? Do they drink? Do you know what I mean? The people that you surround yourself with, you can near enough guarantee they're going to kind of direct your future a little bit, depending on how much you absorb from those kind of people. There's that rule of, is it rule of 5, rule of 6, I believe, the 5 people you spend the most time with, then you're going to be that 6th person. So if you spend all your time with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th millionaire, etc. So look at your environment. Where does your energy go? Where does your focus go? Where do you get your information from? What are you listening to? What are you seeing? Because that can massively dictate the actions that you do or you don't take. So many of my guys get great results when they've got that supportive environment around them. We also need to look at our lifestyle. Again, that comes down to our environment as well. Like, what does your job entail? What does your family life look like? Look at your lifestyle right now and look at, okay, what can I start improving? What do I want my lifestyle to look like? Is this the life that I am living? Or do I need to change things up? Do I want more from myself? Most guys do. And then you've got to look at your emotions as well, because your emotions are going to be the biggest factor, again, for you taking or not taking action. If you're stressed all the time, that can lead to then reaching for the cupboards, reaching for a beer, missing out on a workout because you're just mentally drained. So you've got to look at your emotions and what your reaction is to those emotions as well. You could be a stressed eater. You could be a happy eater. When you get good news, go for a few beers. But then, again, you've got to look at those knock-on effects. So this has been the principles of getting into better shape. We've gone through the kind of science side of things. We've gone through the other side of things in terms of your emotions, your environment, enjoyment, consistency, etc. So you've got to take that information and then you've got to understand how to then implement it into something that's going to work for you specifically. Like I say, we've got the science. We know we need to eat less calories than we burn to drop fat. We know we need to resistance train to keep muscle or to even build muscle. We know we need to move more so that we then increase our calorie output. That's going to give you two things. It's going to either give you more calories to play with in terms of more calories to eat and still drop fat, or you're going to drop fat at a quicker rate. But we don't want to be too quick, like I mentioned at the start, where our calories are too low, where we get irritable, we get tired, we've not got the energy, we haven't got the recovery, we haven't got the focus, and it might, or most times, potentially lead to binge eating episodes or guilt episodes where you do eat a little bit too much, and then you're riddled with guilt, and then you kind of go in a bit of a downward spiral. So you've got to have that that balance of your calorie intake there as well to make sure that that doesn't happen. And again, it comes back to your enjoyment. You not just your exercise side of things, but enjoying your diet as well. And this again comes to your lifestyle. If you like going out on a Saturday with your missus for a beer, or with your friends for a few drinks to watch the football, that's an enjoyment for you. Don't cut that out of your life then just to drop fat. Learn how to work around it. Learn how to have that in your life, but what other disciplined areas you need to make sure that that then doesn't become a negative that then puts you in that downward spiral again. So it's just about managing your own expectations, managing your own environment, your own emotions, and at the end of the day, your own actions to get to the goal that you want.